Hi, third graders. Last week, you left off working with personification, identifying personification in literature. So you have in your reading notebook some notes about personification, what personification is. Personification is when you give non-human things human qualities. And so you worked last week to just identify the use of that in um, some texts. And one of them was this poem called Remembering. So most of you did a nice job. Some of you, I think, forgot, and we'll catch up on that today. But um, you identified the use of personification. So a small brown cottage stands by a lake, lonely, abandoned, and sad. One time filled with children, laughter, and song, it sighs for the life it once had. So, the fact that the cottage, the brown cottage, is doing some human things like standing by a lake, sighing for the life it once had, those are examples of personification. I also had read to you this book, The Dark by Lemony Snicket. And The Dark, this is a whole book of personification because the dark is sometimes the dark hid in the closet, sometimes it sat behind the shower curtain. So those are more examples of personification because in those cases, the dark was hiding and sitting. Today, what we're going to do is really think about what those phrases mean. So now that you can identify the personification, let's go into what does it mean? Like, why did the what does the author mean with those words? Because we know with figurative language, the author usually means something not literally what the words are saying, but something a little bit differently, more figuratively, or the author's trying to invoke some kind of a feeling in you. So going back to the dark, sometimes the dark hid in the corner, and sometimes it sat behind the shower curtain. This was a part in the book where I think the author was really trying to invoke a feeling of sneakiness and a little bit of fear. So he's saying that the dark, by the dark feeling like it's hiding, it's invoking a little bit of fear because the boy was afraid. In this poem, Remembering, that you had read, a small brown cottage stands by a lake. One time filled with children, laughter, and song, it sighs for the life it once had. If somebody sighs, that tends to mean that is a little bit of a sadness or a longing, and the poem was called Remembering. So a thinking back, but it had used the words lonely, abandoned, and sad a little bit earlier. So I think there the author was really trying to help us as readers feel those emotions. So today, what you're going to do is there's going to be some phrases that are given to you. And you need to think, you'll read those phrases. So, on that slide, where the must do slide, read those phrases. And in your opinion, what do you think that means? Think of the object that's doing the human things and think of the human action. And you take your turn practicing what you think the author is trying to say there. If the words aren't meant to be taken literally, what do you think the author means? Is it a happy type of feeling? Does it invoke some feeling? Does it just show some movement? Is it showing how something moves? So I just want you to practice a little bit. Really think about the picture that's created in your head when you read the phrase and also the feeling that's created in your heart. And take a little practice. I talking about what you think the personification means. Why did the author use it? The practice today, go ahead and there's another quizzes for you to practice identifying some personification, but also there's a few of the examples that help you think about what the personification means. And then there's also vocabulary. You can watch the video again, but also there's a quiz. And in the quiz, it definitely is telling you to read a little bit and think about what the personification is and a little bit about what it means. So you get lots of practice in that today. So looking forward to seeing your thoughts.